And I feel like there's obviously a very big narrative and reaction that's happening right now that like game's done. The catering to casuals has pretty much left this game in a dire state. And I'm here to sort of alleviate that, because as much of this game seeming like it's catering to casuals, I don't know if that is exactly the case. And I need to like remind you all. I feel like I am sort of the definitive Tekken casual, like quote unquote casual. Granted, quote unquote 230-hour casual, and that's just on this version of the game, sure, but that's like not a lot. I will say though, that might seem way too much to some people over a year of the game being out, or way too little to the people that pretty much play one fighting game. I am not in Tekken 8 to become a serious competitive player. I am quite literally the casual audience that it seems like the developers would seemingly be targeting for a patch of this kind. That's kind of like what people are thinking. And as a reminder, like, how much do I enjoy Tekken 8? I haven't played a Tekken game this much since Tekken 5. Even Tekken 7 over the the 6-7 years this was out, I had a similar amount of playtime, just because I never actually committed to really learning the game and wanting to go back because of a variety of reasons, online experience, all of this shit, right? So again, I have put almost more time into Tekken 8 solely as a video game in like 1/7 the period of time. I legit love it, right? I legit think it is a super fun version of Tekken. And I also have to remind you, I have been a defender of Tekken 8. While it's not perfect, I do think the approach that they had was pretty interesting, of making something that is opposite of what Tekken 7 is. I think in Tekken 8 at launch, there was definitely some things that needed refinement, but, you know, at the same point, it was like, this is a lot different, you know? This is certainly something that leads to some pretty interesting gameplay, a lot different than before. And yeah, I mean, there was a lot of concern and a lot of discretion, but for the most part, like, the best players were still the best players. And it really felt like, okay, yeah, season 2, hopefully this is just going to be a refinement of those elements, and, you know, bam, we're just going to get into it. So that didn't happen. And I like to use this example of, from my perspective, what happened. Tekken 8's already a very aggressive, somewhat volatile game. Yeah, it already is a very chaotic game in many ways. And it felt like, all right, so already this is a chaotic AF game, like super aggressive, very chaotic game. And it was clear that we were figuring out what's actually super good. What is the shit that like prevents you from playing the game, forces the opponent into these really rough situations? Dude, everybody was complaining about like Lars Den 3 being the end of Tekken. And I'm like, okay, I get it, but it was like a very slow move that leads him to a 50-50 that doesn't really start much combos. It just leads to like a mid or a low. We never thought we'd be at a point where season 2 happens and like the majority of the cast now has that move. It's faster, it's better, and it leads to full combo options after. Now on several other characters, it leads to like 50-50 mix, low starter, 60 to 70 damage, high starter or like mid starter, almost 100 damage. And it's like, oh, what? I keep using this example, like Lars now feels like he's finally playing Tekken 8, but everyone else is playing Tekken 9. So with that little bit of perspective of just like how the game evolved, I very much wanted the game to feel like we are going to refine on those elements. Again, Tekken 8 was like a very satiable dessert. Like you got your dinner, your refined palate cleansing dinner with Tekken 7. Here's dessert, bro. Game's crazy, game's chaotic. Tekken 8 vanilla and beyond, that's where we're at right now, is just a very tumultuous game that's hard to control in many ways. But you get to that point where, you know, you realize, oh, it's leading to this 50-50. These characters have these options. So it's like, yeah, those moments, we want them to tone that down. So like Tekken 8 is a big like ice cream sundae. Visually look at this. delicious. It's a big ice cream sundae, a whole bunch of like ice cream on top of it, and a bunch of chocolate sauce and like sprinkles and shit. And we were looking at this Tekken 8 ice cream sundae going, all right, so that's delicious, but we don't want diabetes. How about we just take off maybe some sprinkles and some of that chocolate sauce? Let's just like bring that away a little bit and give me something that would just feel kind of nice in my stomach instead of trying to give me diabetes. That would be nice. So what happens with season 2? The crew comes in, kicks over your ice cream bowl, brings a bucket, boom, full of ice cream. It's mounted up to like 4 feet. There's chocolate everywhere. It's disgusting. There's so much. I'm like, dude, what is this? Like, this is epic mealtime or some shit? What the hell's going on? I thought we were going to try to fix it. I'm like, no. This is Tekken 8. So instead of the developers coming in and refining their game, they didn't double down. They quadrupled down on several of the things that were severely like cumbersome and sort of removing the elements that sort of make Tekken really fun. And I'll say personally, I was kind of hoping that we were going to get a new season that allowed us to engage with the players a little bit more, where it's like, yeah, okay, the human to human interaction can take a while. Like we were just running into it where I was having to get to Tekken King, where I'm like, ooh, I'm starting to play people. This is fun. I'm actually starting to play the person and not as much their character nearly as much, because people are just putting a little bit more thought into what they do. They don't have exactly the most high tier character. It's like, ooh, okay, I like this. This is the best feeling of Tekken, it is actually like running up at somebody and stopping and just seeing what they do and seeing how they react to that. And then they do it to me. It's like, oh, dude, this is fun. The other shit of just enact my bullshit on somebody and then try to persist until they're done with their bullshit or never let them do it is fun to a certain degree, but it's like the goal is to get out of there, right? The goal was to exit that shit. So to me, it was like, oh, lateral options, more defense. Devs are talking about all this shit. It's like, oh, okay, yeah. This is going to be cool, dude. If we can really show that, like, we can start to like I would say experiment with new sidestepping, with like moving out of the way of shit, then yeah, they can start to tone down the absolute ridiculous like tracking that moves had. This is going to be sick. They literally talked about it. And Tekken 8 again quadruples down on the fact that the tracking is even worse. Like characters get more stuff. And now I feel like we're even further, especially someone in my 200-hour, very casual position. I am even further away now from the thing that was making Tekken 8 kind of fun, which is playing the player and not the character. Dude, now I'm playing like 4 times the character than I am the person, because it's so hard to break through what the character is doing and get to the human behind that shit. It feels like it feels like it has become a significantly different experience. And the one that hit me the most was that I was really hoping, because, okay, I also want to mention things that are great. Sidestepping and side walking have never felt better. My dude, if something happens to this game in the future, we cannot go back. This feels great. Moving your character into the screen and away from the screen in lateral positions feels awesome. I can't believe that this has not been the case for Tekken as long as it has, now that we have true fluidity, true response when it comes to moving in and out. It feels great. But it ultimately didn't matter, because they added a ridiculous amount of tools for a ridiculous amount of characters that completely say, nah, F that. Tracking got even worse on many characters. I don't mean worse as in it is worse. I mean worse as in they made it more powerful to sort of counter the new sidestepping. It's like, wait a minute, I thought that was the whole idea. Like, why quadruple down on the thing that was the most annoying when we have all this new mobility? So again, in my ranked experience, I was having a great time. and I have to remind everybody this, my first impression video of Tekken 8 was pretty positive because I was sitting in a training room learning all this new shit with the characters, seeing exactly what they can do, and it seems fun. Seems like it's gonna be a good time. 4 hours of ranked, this is not a good time, dude. I am playing the game significantly less at times against like a lot of these characters. And to the point, I really wanted the movement changes to make me feel like as a player, maybe I don't have to lab my life off to sidestep and sidewalk moves in this game, right? Maybe as somebody that only can put 200 hours a year into Tekken 8, maybe I could be a player that could actually experiment in matches to discover what I can move around and how I could move around. Maybe the new movement's going to do that. It didn't happen. In fact, it was the opposite. And I would say, I would argue my sidestepping attempts in vanilla Tekken 8 and in Tekken 8 Season 1 would be like 3 out of 10. I'm batting a 300. And I can just attempt a sidestep and see if it works. And about 3 times out of 10, I would come up with a like positive result where it's like, oh, okay, my in-game experimentation of trying to figure out, can I even do this, would work about 3 times out of 10. So I was still getting somewhere. Bro, I was like 1 for 10 on sidestepping attempts now, like 1 for 10 of just seeing what I can do and like, oh, that seems really powerful. I wonder if I can get around it. I know it's coming. And it is, then you get some insane tracking thing. It's like, wait a minute. I thought the idea of getting a more powerful sidestep sidewalk was that they want us to use this stuff more. So I started playing the game and doing significantly better when I was playing it as a 2D game. And I'm watching like some of the best players, at least my character in the world, and I'm watching them play, and I'm seeing similar results. Like against the new powerful shit, people are playing better when it's like 2D now, because the new shit is so powerful. It's so people don't know where to step. It's like, Jesus, there's so many new things that they've added to the game that it's so threatening to even attempt to sidestep, to move in a direction that is like, maybe I'm safe over here. So I feel that, man. Like as somebody that doesn't necessarily have the time to lab every single sidestep, and I would like to experiment in game, I feel like Season 2 disincentivizes my ability to want to utilize the new ridiculously well implemented sidestep. The game's core mechanics are working against me in a way that makes no goddamn sense, because every single thing the developers have said is the opposite. That like, yeah, offense was overtuned, defense wasn't tuned enough, we're gonna do this stuff. And yeah, don't get me wrong, like defense emphatically tuned. Like, to be real, you can hold back when you get up now, and you almost avoid all the crazy Oki shit that happened from like face down situations or back down or whatever. Those weird like moments where you're on the ground, you don't know how you need to get up. I think most of those are alleviated by just pressing back now. So yeah, like getting up and not having get ups really be a problem anymore is like weird. So to me, that's like, okay, so that's a fascinating change, because many of the interesting Oki setups are gone. It feels like in many ways the game is becoming less interesting. The game is just having like less stuff you can work with as in a core situation, and forcing these scenarios on you to the point where, but we gave you new tools, we gave you new moves, we gave you all this stuff. It's like the antithesis of what they talked about, which is where I'm going to route this back around. There is a reason why people are reacting the way they are. There's an absolute wonderful reason why this is happening. The devs said one thing, they delivered another. They said specifically in their direct, in their gameplay examples, the director, like producers, like everybody, were saying like one thing, and then all of a sudden the patch comes out and like, yeah, okay, so the sidesteps are better, but why did everything else become way harder around sidesteps? Like, what the hell's going on? How do you make one thing better and then have the exact opposite happen in core game mechanics, where now tracking is crazy? It makes no sense. How? And again, Lars got a lot of buffs, right? I'll be real. Lars got a lot of buffs. I actually don't think in a bubble, Lars is like top 5. And then you start actually playing other characters in the game, and you're like, oh, Lars sort of became a Tekken 8 character finally. But everybody else now feels like they're playing Tekken 9. So that's just from my perspective. I'm having a great time with all these new moves and stuff, but I would gladly sacrifice that stuff to go back to a game where it feels like it could have been refined. A lot of us were wanting Tekken 8 to be refined. And instead of refining Tekken 8, they seemingly went into a direction that was committing to the initial game design philosophy of the game. Offense is super powerful. Let's make offense super powerful. Let's make the game very heat focused. We were hoping that was going to get toned down a little bit, remove the sprinkles and remove a little bit of the chocolate. We want to refine Tekken 8. No, it was a commitment to the initial game design balance of T8, and now we're just going to push that even further. And it is the most bizarre shit. That is where people are coming from. That is where it's like, wait a minute. Yeah, I get it. A lot of people are going to have fun with their new characters and the things they can do and the way characters have changed. Don't get me wrong. I'm the same way when I was checking out Jin and Lars especially. But when it came down to actually like playing people and now dealing with the ridiculous amount of like bullshit, it just feels very different. It feels like every single match I'm about to be in a car crash and am I narrowly going to swerve out of the way? It's like every single person in the game now feels like a car driving at 120 miles an hour towards me. And I'm like, whoa, okay, well, I just have to be a car driving at 120 miles an hour towards them. And that is the answer. It's weird. This is entirely from the perspective of somebody that is not at Tekken God. This is entirely from the perspective of somebody that casually plays Tekken 8 and jumps into it because I legit loved Season 1. I really, really dug how the game functioned. I liked how characters had more tools. I liked the fact that this was this way. But my dude, I barely felt like I had a grasp of Season 1 to the point where we're just going to shake up the whole thing again. And now here's Season 2, like everything is mostly different and everything works differently. It's like, wait a minute, what happened to like refining Season 1? That's the point where I'm just like, shit, dude. Okay. All right. That's fine. That's fine. So to me, it's made me severely less interested in the game. That's all this really boiled down to. I was very much kind of looking forward to like the new ranked system and wanting to jump into Tekken 8 and experience like, okay, yeah, let's get a really nice refined Tekken 8 and see how it happens. Instead, we for some reason went back to beta 1. And I know a lot of people forgot about this. A lot of people might have forgotten what Tekken beta 1 is like. It's not that much different than what we're playing right now, dude. Where heat mode was like insane, way more aggressive than it kind of was before. Where it was like, it feels like the game was evolving. Tekken beta 1 to beta 2, a lot changed. They toned stuff down. They figured stuff out. The engagements were getting like ironed out. It's like, okay, cool. And then by the time the game came out, there was still a lot of bullshit, got refined, figured out. Like there was a lot of refinements that happened over like a year and a half of Tekken being in like a beta state all the way until its eventual launch, you know? For some reason, it felt like we reverted now. It felt like we went back to Season 1 and that game was like rough, where it had clearly some ideas, but it was like committing way too hard to some of these system mechanics. And it's like, bro, remember multiple heat dashes? Remember just activating heat and just fucking somebody up? Like it was brutal, dude. It was like, okay, Debs, I see where you're going through here. I see where you're going here, but this is not it. It almost feels like it's going back to like a design philosophy of what beta 1 was like, my dude. So I do not feel like this is a refinement of Tekken 8 mechanics. It's just a triple down, quadruple down commitment to what the game sort of is. And yeah, I'm still going to eventually find fun with it, but I was personally hoping that I was going to get a Tekken 8 game where I wanted to do ranked grind in the same way that I actually did with Tekken 8 Vanilla. I wanted to play, dude. I wanted to play and get better. And now I know that even if I play and get better, and if I even lab shit, if I even like go in and start doing this and really learning shit and learning the super sensitive timing to sidesteps, their super sensitive timing to all the crazy bullshit characters have, which hopefully have a counter, what is my end result? I'm still going to hold the shit out of all those 50-50s now. Everybody's got a Den 3 mix-up. there's no way around that. There's very few options around that shit other than maybe hopefully Power Crush or some shit. And to me, it's like, okay, if I'm going to get better at that, then I'm just going to be on like the winning side of a coin flip. And that just doesn't feel very satisfying. So I'm sort of like looking forward and ahead and being like, okay, so maybe I don't want to do this right now. Maybe I just want to wait to see how this is. But I will say I was much more positive before this patch was out of giving the developers the benefit of the doubt here. I get it. A lot of the crazy decision making and stuff like that. But when those patch notes came out and they were like, oh, so characters had weaknesses. Well, we'll just fix all the characters' weaknesses now. Even though we don't need to. Dude, you did not need to buff the shit out of Lars like lows and stuff. Like Lars lows became so much better. He didn't necessarily need that. So to me, it was some extremely questionable decisions just across the board. Did the patch lower the skill gap, you think? As somebody that this patch is designed for me, my dude, this patch is designed for a player like me to give me a chance to fight against other people that have refined that offense. Now I have refined offense. It didn't take me nearly as long to acquire that refined offense because now it's so good on my character or their character or whatever. Yeah, sure. I feel like it could be an attempt at lowering the skill gap. All it's done is make the game seem ridiculously intimidating to me now. Like way more intimidating where it's like, yeah, I love crazy bullshit in games, bro. I do. I like the absolute insanity that Tekken Tag 2 sort of provides as a game. I dig that. But now it just feels like the game is less interesting. When characters just don't have weaknesses, when you buff like the best characters that already were really good, I don't know what's happening. You give them like a ton more tools to work with. Like, I don't get it. Like, it's genuinely perplexing. There's a reason why people are reacting this way. And I have been the absolute advocator of people rage playing and hate playing games. And I feel like Tekken 8 Season 1 was maybe like that to a certain degree, but we didn't know where the developers were going to go. We thought they were going to actually like refine. They didn't refine. So now I'm sympathizing with them a lot. They didn't do that. They quadrupled down. So now I'm sort of like with everybody else. I'm kind of like, yeah, oh dude, I wish I can go back to Season 1. I kind of wish that like that game was wonderful sort of shit compared to like what we're dealing with now. So to me, yeah, there's a good reason why this is happening. There's a really good reason why there's a lot of blowback from this, and it's because the hyper aggressiveness has made it a less interesting game. And yeah, it was hyper aggressive before, but my dude, there were levels to this shit. We went from a chaotic game to a nuclear game in like one patch. And to me, that is way too severe. Even if we take out the throw grab the throw grab health shit, it's so much more. And I get it. I'm going to jump back and play it every once in a while. I'm going to play like casual matches here and there, but like there was a moment where I was like, I'm looking forward to this shit, bro. Like I want to get in and just play ranked and learn shit. I want to sidestep things. I want to like actually engage lateral movement without getting punished like crazy. I'm looking forward to it, man. Like I want to do that. I want to learn that in the game like it's an arcade game. I don't want to have to lab it all the time. It legit seemed like that was the goal based on what they said. It was the opposite. So that's where I'm at right now. That's my personal take. And I know it seems like I was very positive on this patch in training mode. I think most of us were. But after you like play it a bit, it's like, okay. Like once you actually get some matches with humans and stuff, it becomes pretty obvious like where the game's kind of going. And it's like, all right, this is a lot. And as somebody that enjoys a lot in most of my fighting games, I realize there's a limit to that shit now. There is a limit to how much you can just buff literally nearly everything and even the most annoying shit to a point where it's like, oh man, do I really want to play this that much anymore? So what I severely hope, and I was talking to Justice Soltuno about this, they already got a big idea before this patch was out that people are like big mad. And they were like, okay, so we're going to be pulling back on the throw damage thing, but that's going to be coming in a hotfix, right? It's my hope that like, hey, maybe we went a little too far on stuff. I can understand why they don't want to take away the new tools of characters, but maybe some of those tools could actually be refined, and maybe they can go back to the same exact refinements that they had been making from beta 1 to beta 2 to launch Tekken 8 all the way through Tekken 8 season 1. The game was getting refined, and to suddenly have the wrench thrown at the thing, to have your thing kicked over and boom, here's this like crazy thing now. It's like, that is the rug pull that I think many of the veteran players were worried about. And as somebody that is a casual Tekken fan, now I understand. That's all I have to say about that, chat. So, I still want to play. I really do, but my desire to like try to be at least a little competitive with it just doesn't. It isn't something I really want to do much anymore. It just looks frustrating. It just is like, oof, man. And even I'm frustrated for my opponents when I get my Lars bullshit cooking now, where it's like, damn, that guy got roasted. I mean, sure, that feels kind of good, but I didn't even need to think of sidestepping. Just enacted my bullshit on them, and then they did it to me, and then I did it to them, and then they did it to me, and it's like, I don't know if that's what I'm looking for. I kind of wanted to cleverly attempt to sidestep and have it work maybe 5 times out of 10, you know, maybe 4 times out of 10. I was hoping that that was going to be the case, and it's just not the case. Anyway. So yeah, I was kind of bummed out. I'll just say personally, after this patch happened and after that first night, and I was just like watching other people play and seeing how the game is functioning now, just like witnessing it and trying it again and playing some casual matches like offline and stuff. I was kind of bummed out. I was kind of like, ooh, yeah, this fucking hurts. Yeah, this does not feel good. Yeah, I mean, I told you, you know what? I have to give you guys credit. A lot of the dooming that you guys were doing was accurate. Okay, you were accurate. A lot of the dooming the Tekken community was accurate. Here's the problem. There's a cry wolf issue with the Tekken community, just in general. There's a cry wolf issue with the majority of like fighting games, just in general, where if you're constantly bitching about like everything, it is sort of hard to evaluate from even a developer perspective. So what is actually substantial? Like, what is, if you're always saying, oh, I'm being eaten alive by a wolf, and you go over there and it's actually not that bad, and then the one time the wolf is literally eating you alive and the developers aren't listening, then that's now the relationship, right? That's now the relationship. So to me, this could be the literal tipping point of what is a very complainy long. I'm not saying for Tekken 8. I'm not saying this is a Tekken 8 issue. My dude, this shit goes back to Tekken 6. Like that was the first time that I was like, damn, dude, Tekken fans are something else. This goes all the way back to like T6. It goes all the way back even to vanilla Tekken 7 before it was out in like the arcade version. Dude, everybody hated that game. Everybody absolutely hated the shit out of that game. Like, it was like, okay, but they were found. Like, I'm sorry, they were sound. They were right. The game needed to get fixed. So this isn't exactly an issue of developers. This isn't exactly an issue of the fans having criticisms. What is happening is that we've come to this boiling point where now things have gone way too far and it feels like they're truly not listening. They're saying the opposite of what they're doing. And now the community is like, it's now tipped, right? So what I'm not saying is I'm blaming the devs specifically for the way they have communicated stuff, because I think that is a big issue, or blaming the fans specifically, for legacy fans, right? For how things have been sort of like very complainy for a very long time with this side of the community. I think you get a lot of those elements colliding with each other so much, and it feels like there's a we're here now, and now we're here. So I'm only hoping that for someone like myself, who it feels like this patch is made for, can get my message across of why I think this game is less interesting now. Why Tekken 8's a game that I probably don't want to play as much. And I wasn't playing it a lot. Again, I am not a mega hardcore dude. I've put more time into Tekken 8 than I have almost like my top 5 fighting games over the past 5 years. Like, no shit. I've put almost more time into Tekken 8 than I did, dude, Street Fighter 5. My dude, I've played Tekken 8 more than I have Street Fighter 5. I'm not even shitting you. I've played T8 more than SF5. That's how much I enjoyed like season 1, just comparatively speaking. And I've significantly enjoyed it more than Tekken 7. I've played it just as much as Tekken 7 over the span of like 7-8 years because I was just having a good time learning how to get better at it. So anyway, it's a complicated issue right now. And we are by Street Fighter 6. No, I definitely went ham sauce in Street Fighter 6. I put 500 hours into that bitch in the first like few months, dude. I went ham. That shit was hella fun in the first like 3-4 months. Like, holy fuck, bro. Don't get me wrong. I haven't played a ton since then, but like my bitch ass put 500 hours. We were fighting some of the best players in the world in those first few months of Street Fighter 6. It was legit great. And then other things happened and other things. Mortal Kombat 1 came out. So it was like, oh shit, I just don't gotta split this up, you know? Yes, I find it funny that there is a big communication issue right now from like the Tekken devs, especially after this patch came out. But maybe, just maybe, there's also a big communication issue in the history of like big legacy Tekken fans and what they really want and how they are communicating their wants and needs, you know? Like, it feels like those are the things. It feels like those are the things. I'm an absolute casual. I commit to the first few months, bro. I do. That's where the majority of my interest is. Other things come out. That is my relationship with Tekken 8. I am quite literally the defining person to come back to Tekken and play more. I am literally who this patch was made for. And it is having the exact opposite effect on me. The exact opposite. That's my relationship with most fighting games. I want the game to give me like a really good reason to come back and regrind. I want them to give me a reason to come back and give me a character or give me some new shit in the game that makes me want to like go at it again. I want to revisit those feelings of the first 3 months. I want to get back in there and like kick its ass, you know, like let's go, let's relearn. This is going to be so much fun. That is like the goal of big updates to games, of like big season 2 updates. That's where most of fighting game devs are trying to engage their audience outside of the people that are just playing one game for the span of like a year and shit. Again, I'm like the one this is designed for. And a reminder, it's doing the opposite. It's having a complete opposite effect. Anyway. It's been frustrating. It has been frustrating. I'm curious how the developers are eventually going to respond to a little bit of this stuff. Isn't that what they did? If you were here for the past 15 to 20 minutes, emphatically no. I mean, a multi-handed, huge commitment to all of this stuff that made... FDX had the greatest... Dude. I mean, Fee has not been a big fan of this stuff for sure. He wants a more like refined, he wants a refined version of Tekken 8. I completely understand. But my dude, he has, for people that don't understand like what this means, the best response. He responded to Broski. This would be the equivalent of translated new season 2 Tekken 8, but it's for the Street Fighter game, right? So imagine Akuma already was like really good in Street Fighter 6. Open image and new tab. This would be what Akuma's Tekken8, right? If Akuma got like a Tekken8 style update, this would be the difference. Go Shoryu changed to down down punch. Works on both sides, right? His Tatsu goes from -13 to -1. His health has now increased to 10,000. His health was kind of a weakness of him, so we gave him normal character health. His demon startup speed increases, made the demon actually harder to react to. Shungoku Sats. Well, let's change the input to down, down, kick plus punch. Let's make it completely projectile invulnerable on frame 1. And the damage was reduced a little bit to account for all the easy inputs. This is the Tekken 8 patch. A full commitment to nuclear gameplay. And it makes no goddamn sense. For every character, for like 90% of the roster, it's unhinged. Doesn't make any. Cammy Spin Knuckle, Project Invulnerable on first frame was 9 frames. Frame advantage on hit, +8 for all variations. Allows a heavy punch follow-up. It's like, this would be fucking bonkers. What the fuck are we doing? Characters just have no weaknesses? Like, yes. And I understand for a lot of people that are like not Tekken heads why that doesn't make sense, but I think you understand how 2D games work, at least. That would be the equivalent of like what has happened. Like Schizo Edition. Yeah, it really, it's like, what? It's not broken, it's bold. Like, I like crazy busted games, but even in some of those situations, right? There's a couple of characters that are crazy busted and everybody else is sort of lacking. So in those situations, they take down the ultra Kusoge characters if given an opportunity. They like bring them down a little bit and they bring all the other characters up a little bit. There's like a proper like balancing here. It isn't a Tekken 8 situation where you have these characters that are like crazy and busted and then you give them more shit, but you also give everybody some more shit. So, but does it feel like everything just went up a whole bunch instead of maybe some of these guys like going and maybe meeting those power levels or bringing the power level down just a little bit? No, everything just went up. It's fucking weird. And the problem is the characters that were doing this shit was mad annoying. Was like everybody in the game gets a Virgil sword loop now. From a Marvel perspective, that's what they did. Everybody in the game gets a Virgil sword loop. Okay. I mean, everybody else's tools still kind of suck, but we're just going to give everyone a Virgil sword loop? Yep. Can we not? Can we like maybe do 1 or 2 and then that's it? It's like, it's the complete opposite of anything that I have ever seen. Anything that I have ever fucking seen in this space. Like, and I wasn't super familiar with the last Dragon Ball patch, but maybe, just maybe it's comparable to that. I have never seen anything like this shit, dude. Just a full commitment, like full send. So, you know. It be how it do. It be how it do. I'm getting some sweet bans in the chat right now. I'm getting some good ones. If just say something stupid, please. Say something stupid so I never have to hear from you ever again. That's all you have to do. That's all you got to do. Just let it out so that you will never exist ever again. So I can read the first 2 words of your sentence and not even your name, and then you evaporate into the ether. Please. I will not even think about it. I'll look at your 12, 13, 14-month subs and shit and immediately get rid of you. Sorry. This isn't a democracy, motherfucker. You're in my house. All right. So, Igni, thanks for the $5, dude. What do you think their design philosophy was? I have to think they knew this would happen. This is crazy. That's where everyone is confused. That's where everyone is like legit confused. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't line up with what they were saying. That's why everyone is like butthurt, because it's the opposite of what they were saying. So anyway, let's talk about pricing. before we get into Kazan, really quick, let's talk about pricing. So the Switch 2 got revealed, and the Switch 2